Hey guys, it's Tarkin coming at you, and I would have music if I had a better audio program. I just want to slander iTunes real quick. You know, Apple's terrible. Okay, now it works. So apparently, I'm not supposed to use iTunes anymore. Apparently now it like is the worst program in the world, and I'm comfortable saying this. It sucks. iTunes is terrible. It worked fine on the old version of Windows, but I think they don't want you to use it anymore, so they made it bad. I'm just going to be highly negative for a little while now. So if you open up iTunes and you have your speakers on, say, and then you change the speakers, now it won't automatically change to the output. You have to restart the whole program. And so if, say, you need headphones to be on, you can't do that. But it's really my fault for using a terrible program just because I used to use it 20 years ago when it was good. I uh, I do that a lot. I think a lot of people do that. And that's what terrible companies like Apple are counting on. Normally I try not to be negative, but when it's about like very rich and famous people like Apple, I feel quite comfortable complaining about them, even though it's not really what the stream is about. Uh, you know, because like I don't care. Hi Natasha, I'm complaining. But I did a little off-stream slab placement earlier today, so more of the stuff grew. Some of my work friends have explained to me that like off-stream mining is a euphemism for people cheating diamonds into their games or whatever they need. So it's funny, like the idea that I'm cheating wheat into the game. Like, oh, I was I don't know how one would do that. I guess you could edit the world. You'd find some program and just move stuff around. I'm sure that is able to be done since the blocks are you know positionally defined. Probably wouldn't be too tricky. But anyway, I assure you this weed is 100% organic. But I did irrigate a lot of this field over here, and I changed the irrigation in the main field to being more slab based as opposed to trapdoor based. But anyway, as I was saying, iTunes is terrible, and I shouldn't be using it. I should find out if they still have Winamp. Oh, I loved Winamp. I used to rock that back in like 99 2000. You could get plugins that would be like they would change the skin of it. I had one that made it look like a Dragon Ball Z character for a while. Even I wasn't super into Dragon Ball Z, but my friend was, and I thought the aesthetic of the character was cool. Anyway, what I mean to say is that it's my own fault for uh, for using this terrible Apple product, iTunes, even though they don't want me to use it anymore. And to be clear, I'm not paying them for it at all, and never have. I've never actually given Apple money. Y'all know I don't use a smartphone. I People have given Apple money for me before. Like I've had like an iPod back in the day, but they know perfectly well who I am, I'm sure, and so maybe that is why they are making iTunes run like garbage, because they know I've been using their stuff for 20 years and I'm unlikely to ever give them any money at all. They probably have like a whole new app now. It's probably called like iMusic. I don't even know if they do that anymore. But I'm sure I'm their idea of the worst kind of customer. Someone who only hates them and only takes their stuff for free. Like I never purchased a single MP3 on iTunes ever in my life. but they get plenty of money from other people. But I have always disliked Apple, even before iPhones were around. Which I think iPhones are cool, I just think they're a bad idea, and I won't have one. I will never get one. But I do think they're very cool. I think they're super awesome, in fact. Smartphones are very, very cool, and that is why I refuse to have one. My brain is not strong enough. I would become much more useless than I already am, I could tell. Every time I go to work and some kid is just like looking at his phone instead of doing his job, I think that would be me if I had a phone. I'd be just as bad as everyone else in the world. And the only way to prevent that is to, you know, not lead yourself into temptation to plagiarize the good book. As its adherents call it. Y'all know I don't think it's that great of a book. I like the book, but I don't really call it the good book. Merely one of the good books is what I would call it. But I set up little wells here and there. And I don't actually know where the nearest one is, because I irrigated like the flat areas here, but here, far afield. But we're just going to keep on going in the direction that we are, because that's what this is all about after all. But back to how I don't like Apple, you know, because iTunes is bad. I'm sure that me complaining is going to lose everyone. But so you couldn't right click, and that's what it was. The first time I sat down at one of my friends' houses and they had a Mac, and then I couldn't use it because you couldn't right click, and they wanted me to learn a whole new formatting. I just got unreasonably angry and was like, I'm never going to be cool with these people. They want to be different than I want to be. I want to right click. But I'm done complaining about Apple for the moment. After all, the MP3 player is working. I think they're MP4s now. I'm an old person, so I call things by the, by an archaic form. Like how I'll call Blu-rays DVDs, which I'm sure annoys a lot of people. I know it's not right. But as I've said many times, I'm like a startlingly negative person. It's easy to become distracted by the stuff I don't like because it's all around. But, you know, I live my life in a way to avoid much of it. Like I often do not see advertisements, for example. I get really angry anytime I have to hear them, though. Like if somebody at work doesn't have, like a premium radio station or whatever, and I have to hear ads, I want to like, well, you shouldn't share fantasies of destruction of property. So I want to take the batteries out of their speakers. And, of course, since it's the modern era, you can't take the batteries out, but, we'll leave it to the imagination. But all of that's over. I should stop thinking about things I don't like, At least I was planting wheat while I was doing it, because I rather like planting wheat. And before long, I'll have to go back out into the world and be around people that listen to music that I think is really bad, and who behave in ways that I think are bad, and you know, all of that sort of stuff. So there's no reason to think about it right now, except that I started. It's a shame. So close to getting to the savannah section of the biome. Pretty exciting. That'll be a nice break point. Before too long, we'll be able to see the mountain where the temple to wheat will be. Have I left my bed somewhere? I have. I need to find a bed. I'm probably going to find one with an axe. I was about to hit that brown sheep, but it was a horse. I've got wool, you know, somewhere. I just don't know where. And I left my bed somewhere. I don't know where that is either. It might have been like dropped to a full inventory though, so. Because normally I place it on the top of the wheat so it floats up a level. Makes it pretty easy to see, but you know, these 3 sheep have been here a really long time. Like a really long time. I'm gonna leave them even though I do need wool. I mean, those sheep have been there since like July of this year. Like those sheep have been here since all I was doing was playing Minecraft for a month. Well, I think we might end up just stealing some villager's bed. Oh, here's an empty one. Could have oh, that was a little bit rude. It'll be fine. He'll just have to grab a different bed. So we're getting... I'm like, yeah, here's all the extra beds. I knew they were somewhere. Just messing up all their stuff. I have no desire for more beetroot seeds. But yeah, like our flat field here, it's mostly irrigated. We'll fly up in the air a little bit. You can see that it's like a reddish color. That's the nice reddish color of irrigated dirt, not the dry, cracked earth of that part. So that'll be like a lot that we can harvest, but we're going to not harvest right now, of course. We're just going to run over here and plant until we run out of seeds, and then we'll, you know, run on over to the fields, grab a bunch of seeds, do whatever. I might kill the dragon in this world tomorrow, but I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. Normally I can tell the future, not like for a really far amount of time ahead, just like, you know, for a day or two. But I don't know, I have this, like, unfortunate relationship with the game World of Warcraft in the classic iteration, and they're bringing it back again. I think specifically because they want my money. I've been talking about this, but it's on my mind. Because I'm concerned if I play WoW that I'll play it and not have fun, but keep on playing it for like a year while I don't enjoy it anyway. And I don't know how I can prevent that without just not playing it at all. But I like the repetition. Maybe what I need to do is just record it, and then I can, like, I'll be able to process the way I feel about it, because I'll say it out loud, you know, because psychologists are very expensive, but putting videos onto YouTube is free. But I actually pretty drastically improved my principal wheat field on the island. I call it the island. It's not actually an island. But I placed a lot of slabs in a better spot. Because if you put like a low slab, like so, I'll just show it in a place where it would be irrelevant. Like you would fill this up with water, right? To irrigate it, and then you put the slab there. That not only makes it so you can't fall in, but it's a stair step to be able to go up and down, so you don't have to jump. And that's just, you know, I'm sure that's not an advanced technique, but I would consider it an intermediate technique. After all, you see a wheat field like that, you would assume that I would already know to do stuff like that, but you know, if I did, yeah, I did it and then it slipped my mind, because yep, because it didn't occur to me to implement it intelligently. But now, rather than trapdoors over our irrigation puddles, we're moving to slabs, which if you place them on the upper part of it, the water stays underneath it as a source block, but then you can just walk right over it. If you put it on the lower part, it still works, but you still like dip down a little bit. I used a couple different kinds of wood for it, which is sad. I like the acacia best, probably. The orange sort of offsets wonderfully with the wheat once it's grown, I think. And but I've got like oak and birch slabs in the middle of the field. It's like it's a whole mess. I'm making such good progress with this wheat. The great thing about planting wheat, well, obviously not the only great thing, there's so many great aspects to planting wheat, but one of the things that I consider to be a superior facet of the planting of wheat is how all you gotta do is just keep on doing it, you know? You don't have to worry if you're going in the right direction, because you are. It's all right in front of you, and it could never be more clear than that the wheat is the right choice than it is whenever you're looking at it. But it's so lovely. There in the expanse, the Mountain of Lights with the wheat creeping up. I'm glad that we were more restrained with the Mountain of Lights. I wouldn't have wanted to interrupt where all of the cornflowers were. That's an important part of the world history. This is so nice. You know, why would I play World of Warcraft where picking flowers is not nearly as good as planting wheat is? I don't know. Maybe I'll play some. It's hard to say. Because I feel like if I get analytical about it, then I'll be able to set myself free. Because if I analyze why I like wheat, I still like it at the end. But if I analyze why I like World of Warcraft, I think I don't. But I'm sure I'll be playing it tomorrow just like everybody else. I shouldn't sound so bitter. For like a super long time, I'd sit around and talk to people about how like all I wanted in the world was for them to re-release World of Warcraft like it was back in vanilla. I would talk about how everything had gone wrong with every expansion and all they needed to do was bring it back just the way it used to be, and then I would play it forever. But it turned out that I still got bored with it. Even being given, I think that was like all 3 wishes, because it was so specific that the genie was just like, whatever, dude, this is dumb, but I'll give it to you. But we're going to charge y'all for all 3. And I said, yes, sure, shut up and take my money. But we'll just lay down for the night and continue wheating with the new day. 'Cause it's a good day from morning until night. A wonderful day for planting wheat. It's like the last time I played Classic World of Warcraft, I played a Holy Paladin. I was a healer, and I was considered to be like I think like a good player. People liked me. I did good performances, you know, that kind of thing. But basically all I ever did was pay attention and hit one button over and over and over again, and very, very rarely do something else. And I still liked it. That's not a good game, right? But when I play this, I'm like, you know, this is way better than walking up and down a coastline hoping that I'll be able to find a flower. Because there's just so much here, and it's all mine. The best part of Minecraft is I don't have to share it. No, I mean, it's probably fun to play with other people. But I kind of like knowing that no one's going to be, like, walking around being able to mess with my stuff when I'm away. Not that you can do that in WoW, but... Nostalgia is interesting in that way, because there's a naive expectation that people have in their lives where it's like, if you could return to the scene of something, you know, like if you take a person back to where you fell in love together, that you know, some part of that magical thing can come back. If you return to the site of some important moment in your life, that you'll be able to conjure up that feeling or process it in some way again. But I think even for a poet, you often arrive at a place like that and are struck to find nothing. Like the love that you expect to have for the thing, it's not there when you arrive. It's muted. And knowing that it is the same doesn't help, because that just makes you wonder what you're remembering all along. And that's what I'm getting at with World of Warcraft. And I don't know. Yeah, because I would wake up, you know, like I would set alarms to wake up early to play WoW. Not like, you know, not getting enough sleep, but I would, you know, I would get out of bed. I wouldn't be hitting, you know, 30 minutes of snoozing, which is pretty funny. But there's something in the game design where, like, as a student of the human brain, such as it is, I don't like games where the reward loop is the reason to play. I think they're bad. Like, I mean, y'all know I don't use a smartphone, but like any of what I would call the phone games where, you know, it's just time simulators or perpetual clicking things, or puzzle games without relevant goals or endings, where it's just like a perpetual churn where they fool you with lights and bells and whistles sort of thing, like the equivalent of slot machines in video game form, even if they're not charging you for it, just like that sort of Skinner boxy dopamine stimulation boringness, where they use the reward system of the game to keep you engaged with it, where they're always like, hey, you leveled up, oh, you unlocked a thing, you did this and that. And I like when they do that, because of course I do, because I am here a person in possession of a human brain, which is why I think they aren't good games, because they trade on biochemistry when they should be creating art. If this game was about planting wheat, and the only thing to do was plant wheat, and it gave me big old pop-ups and dumb things all the time for planting wheat, I wouldn't want to plant wheat in it anymore. You know, the beauty of Minecraft, of digging a huge hole, or of getting 200,000 wheat seeds into the ground, or of whatever, is that no one's telling you to do it. I was doing a bunch of advancements in hardcore today, so these sorts of arbitrary goals are fresh in my mind. But with the advancements, I think Minecraft really strikes the sweet spot, although some of them I think are dumb and a little too complex, but, like, they're not, not everybody has to do everything, right? But they never feel like, you don't have to unlock the things in order to play the game. Sure, if you want a Shulker or an Elytra, you'll have to kill the end dragon, but it's really only some steps. And if you're not playing in hardcore, I'm sure it's pretty easy to figure out how to do it when you're, when you can come back to life if you fail. But World of Warcraft, of course, has sandbox elements as most MMOs do, because they're largely player directed, but they're still deceptive because the sandbox in WoW is an inch deep, especially in Classic WoW, the only World of Warcraft I love, because you can only really do a handful of things or nothing. You can stand and look out at the sunrise, but if you want to play the game, there's only so many things that a person can do, and they're all just, repetitive. And not in the great way that planting wheat is repetitive. I don't want to be slandering wheat. It's one of my favorite things. But WoW's like the only MMO that I really played. I played Phantasy Star Online, but not when it was an MMO. Like, me and my friend played it, like, on a LAN. But it was an MMO, and I loved it, but, Phantasy Star was a wonderful RPG series from once. I don't think they still make them. But, the Sega Saturn and the Dreamcast were ahead of their times. We were all betrayed by Sega for being too ahead of their time. I played a lot of Dead by Daylight, but Dead by Daylight is very Skinner boxy, very unlock based. I don't consider it to have, like, a predatory model in terms of live service games, but, like, structurally, I think a lot of what kept me hooked was just the unlocks and that kind of thing, because whenever I finished it up, I basically just quit immediately. And I didn't realize when it was going on how much the unlocks and the shininess and the feeling of, like, making progress was keeping me hooked. Whereas I was, like, quite disenchanted with the actual gameplay. And then I played, like, Persona 5, which was wonderful, just a great experience. I love the Megaton series broadly, and Persona 5 was a wonderful entry in it. And then Baldur's Gate 3, which was a masterpiece. One of the finest games I've ever played. I described it as the coolest game I ever played when I was first playing it, and I think I'll even stand by that. A real triumph. Something for them to hang their hat on forever. And when I think about, like, the quests in Baldur's Gate and how they tie the world together and the elements of it and finding little notes, man, WoW just really doesn't have that. But maybe it does and I've forgotten. But I read the stuff. Most people don't. All my friends, they get a mod that tells them where to run, and then you just follow it. It tells you which quests are the most efficient, and That's the thing about nostalgia. You can't do what you used to do. The famous, I think it's very famous actually, line in Herodotus is, you can't cross the same river twice. You probably would have heard it stylized as, no man can cross the same river twice, for he is not the same man, and it is not the same river. Something along those lines. You can't cross the same river twice is a line in a Mountain Goats song that is referencing that one. I think it's very, very famous. It's certainly what springs to my mind when I think of nostalgia in general, and of the broad desire to go back to a point in the past that probably was never real, but certainly cannot be reached today, because I'm a creature of memory. I'm possessed by it, captivated by it, imprisoned in it. I experience my memories far more than I'm experiencing the events of any day-to-day thing that I'm going on with. I am busy living in the past, sometimes the distant past and sometimes the recent past, but I very rarely care what's going on around me compared to replaying something that I've decided that I need to care about. So I wonder where that sort of, like, maladaptive nostalgia comes from in me. Because it's one thing to be longing for some idyllic thing, but, like, I know that I don't think World of Warcraft Classic is that great of a game, and I still have these feelings for it. But I guess that's a very human thing, right? To feel a complicated way about something, even when you're quite critical of its value. But it's time for wheat planting. It's gonna be so fast to get all this, because we're just going to go up and down the rows. But you see here the various colors of planks that are holding it all up, and the irrigation here, it's all clumsy. I didn't know how many blocks needed irrigation back whenever I was doing this, so I would just, like, put random water buckets down sort of joyously all over the place. And, like, right here, we have an example where I was going... I would have discovered that you want to do this bottom slab thing after I had already put it there, so I didn't notice and do it back. But that's, like, it's really nice. Because here, like, with that present, you could just run all the way up if you had it, and that would make the fields just much, much better with the verticality, which I didn't even think of how, like, we should have done it over the whole thing, but Tasha, you say it's more sentimental at the time you spend instead of the game? Perhaps. All of my great memories in WoW are of, doing stuff with my friends, helping people out. Like, the feeling of getting some item for one of my friends that had been trying for it for ages, which is, like, my favorite thing. I do, I shouldn't say I don't like the reward loop in WoW, because I quite like the good things happening for other people. I often found in WoW, though, that when the good things happened for me, they didn't feel as good as I wanted them to. You know, it was just like, okay, I got the thing, and then I'm like, is this it? But when other people got it, I got to, like, you know, feel like I was doing something for them. I just wake up and get on and, like, just whisper and be like, all right, here's the deal. We've been here 310 times, but we could do 20 more today, and I bet it'll drop. Now that I'm saying it, I'm like, yeah, maybe I will play it again. Just when I thought I was out. But they have hardcore World of Warcraft too. That would be funny. I've never played hardcore WoW. It didn't exist back when I played. Or I probably would have played it. I imagine, like, you can... It takes a long time to get to max level in Classic World of Warcraft. I don't want to hazard an exact get. I think something like 100 hours of Slash played, so like 4 good days. And that's if you're moving at like a brisk clip. Most people will take many dozens of hours more than that. But I imagine most hardcore runs die way before max level. I mean, you can die at level 3 in WoW. And I do sometimes, because, you know, be aggressive, be aggressive. And we're already full of stuff. Yeah, I gotta... We gotta get some, Gotta get some shulkers. That's hardly a thing to do for just wheat. You can kill the end dragon off stream. But now we've got our stuff. I'm not going to do this right now. We're just going to run home and mend up. Or rather, we're going to farm some more seeds up. I shouldn't be doing it here. Yeah, I don't really like working on that part of the field. Here's better. Here you get nice straight lines for a good long while. Because the important thing, you want it to be like 64 or less so that you can keep on picking up seeds and you never have to change your inventory, right? Because, you know, minimal inputs are better when you want to do like stuff like this. You want to be able to spend a few seconds doing it instead of going forward and back every 2 seconds, you know. Every 6 seconds, much better. But, so with Fortune 3, you get more than twice as many seeds. I don't know how many more than twice as many, but more than twice as many, I think. So your inventory fills up really quick. But we need to, we need to get a whole lot of seeds. Because even if I play World of Warcraft and then I never play Minecraft ever again, I still want plenty of wheat seeds. It's funny how quickly you can make a big wheat field when you already have a big wheat field. But if you don't have one, it takes a long time to get enough seeds to make this much wheat. It's like cows. Look, once you have 1,300, you can get 1,300 more. Got all of that here. Let's just fly up. I need to, yeah, we'll be getting to the end of this video here. I need to call it quits. So, we still got tons more, because most of that field is in a good spot to get a whole lot of it. So we'll be able to get, many more wheats. And good wheat progress today. We definitely are enveloping this little thing. Enveloping? I think enveloping would be how you enunciate that one. Yeah. To envelop the position. To make it an envelope. And then we'll have a beautiful little wheat oasis here. But all right, yeah, we're making great progress. A good amount of wheat for certain. But that's all for today, folks. I think I'll stream tomorrow. I don't actually think I'm gonna quit playing Minecraft, even if I do play WoW. But I don't think WoW comes out until like 5 tomorrow afternoon anyway, so we'll figure it out. If I disappear again, I'm sure that there are hundreds of hours of videos of me talking to myself that you could find on the internet that you haven't seen yet. But thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Good night, Natasha. Thanks for hanging out. We got the sweets down. Maybe tomorrow. I think tomorrow we'll kill the dragon on this character. But maybe not on stream. It'll be funny to make a video of it. I can make one where I cheat to kill the dragon in funny ways and pretend that I'm not doing it while it's like in peaceful. I'll be like, oh, I can't believe I didn't take any damage. Or whatever. I don't actually know if you can fight the dragon in peaceful. I'm just messing around. But I will see you later on. Good night.